Hey everybody, it's Thea and I am back with another video. So today we'll be talking about how to get into art school and how people from low incomes can pay for it. So first off, let's start with in state. So if your family makes less than $42,000, most schools, at least the ones that I know, especially in California, and in Arizona, they will give you a full ride as long as you have a 3.0. I think in California, they're a little bit more lenient. I'm not exactly sure. But I know in Arizona, if you have a 3.0 and your family makes less than $42,000, you will get a full ride to any school in the valley. Public. Any public school. So community college, 4 year, like ASU, AFU, those are colleges that you can get a full ride if you meet the criteria. And for those, I'm talking about the Obama scholarship. Anybody that goes to ASU, AFU, they are on, and they make less than $42,000 a year, they are on Obama scholarship. Now, hold on, let me put my list. Okay, another thing. Don't I feel like a lot of people, especially people who come from low income, they have this mindset that they can't pay for college. We need to get out of that mindset and stop putting ourselves in a box. And for those who are still in school, you need to make sure that you are on your P's and Q's about your grade. You should at least try to graduate, not try, no, not try, graduate with at least a 3.0. If you can score higher, that's like fantastic. Like if you can get a 4.0, I would also recommend people trying to score well on the SATs and ACTs. Although I do know a lot of schools don't really give that anymore. But if you are trying to go to any type of prestigious college, by the way, some of those they do give full rides, such as Yale. Uh, if you want to go to art school at Yale, and you make, I think if your family makes under like $65,000, they'll give you a full ride, which is like crazy because I personally didn't know that. Now I know a lot of you guys probably want to go to like a private art school such as like Cal Arts, and I think RISD is also private. But most private colleges, at least that I'm aware of, they don't give full rides. Not saying that you can't apply, you can definitely still apply and try to see how much financial aid they'll give you, and then plus whatever scholarships you're able to obtain to see if you can get it 100% paid for. But I would recommend the easiest way to get college paid for is if you go to school within your state or a community college. And community colleges do have like art degrees. Well, it would be a 2 year, but they do have art. So do like the bigger colleges in most cities, I believe. Probably more of the bigger cities. They have some type of art degree program, whether it's painting, drawing, sculpture, architect, animation, one of those. Now let's talk about for those who are dependent and those who are independent. What qualifies you as a independent student, one, state of the ward after the age of 13. And what I mean by state of the ward, I'm talking about if you lived in a group home, foster care, any one of those, you're considered a state of the ward. And if you were there after your 13th birthday, you were considered an independent, which means when you fill out the information that you need for your school, you really don't need any information from your parents. Now, if you're a dependent, you will. And keep in mind, for the full ride scholarships that are for low income students, you do have to qualify for those scholarships every year. So that is one thing. But if you're independent, they really don't ask about how much you're making because they kind of already assume that you're not making much. And that's why they have that rule that after the age of 13, you're probably not getting that much financial help from your parents. Okay, so when you are applying to colleges, I would recommend to look at the type of programs they have, especially for those who want to be in the arts. You don't, like I said, you don't have to go to a art school, especially if they're not willing to give you the maximum amount of funding that you'll need to pay for 100% of it. And not to say that art school still won't be expensive. You'll still have to buy supplies and other things of that. But if you're on a full ride, usually you get money back so you can pay for those supplies. And you can also talk to your professors about being a more lenient on certain supplies that you can and can't get. So when you are applying to colleges, usually they have a like an application fee, but if you are considered low income or an independent student, you can waive those. So this kind of, I believe for most colleges, I'm not going to say all because I don't know if 100% of colleges do that, but you can waive that application fee. Now, for those who are considered independent, like I said a few moments ago, if you are a independent student, usually they have scholarships for people who have been in foster care or in the group home. Those scholarships kind of depends, like, yeah, it kind of depends. Such as if we're in California, they usually have more scholarships for people who have been in those, and I think in certain other states, basically more states that are more democratic. In other states, such as Arizona, a lot of the scholarships are usually towards or for people who were in the system after the age of 17. But I've also seen some that are after the age or the age of 18. So those are also some scholarships, and usually those scholarships give between like 2 to 5 thousand if you haven't already received your full ride from the college, Pell Grant, and another scholarship on top of that. And as far as the Pell Grant, if you're low income or independent, you'll qualify. Well, if you're under the 42,000 threshold, and basically saying that your family will give like zero income to you going to school, you will most likely get 100% of the full Pell Grant. And most of the time, the Pell Grant does cover, if you do go to community college, it does cover most, if not all, of your community college tuition. Another thing, just because it isn't one of the private art schools like Cal Art doesn't necessarily mean that it's not as good. I know plenty of professors that teach at the community college that also teach at the college I go to, and honestly, they're fantastic. I can't really say about how it is at the private schools. Obviously, from what I've seen, the content is a little bit more challenging than what exactly I'm doing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the education is less valuable just because you're going to a community college or a four-year college isn't necessarily like a private art school. Oh, and I forgot, being an independent, it's um basically group home, foster care, a deceased parent. I don't know if it's both or one. And being emancipated, those are all considered independent. And I'm considered independent. So usually they don't like ask me any questions about finances. They usually just ask for proof of how you qualify for being an independent. And when you are applying to colleges, I personally would not be fearful of applying to any of the colleges that you're interested in, because then you can weigh your options to see who will give you the most funding and kind of give yourself a tier list of schools that you want to go to. So, for example, I will also leave some scholarships that I'm aware of in the description below. But if you're trying to go into any Ivy League, whether you're trying to be into the arts or if you're here just to get information about how to pay for college when you're low income, here are those. Although they're hard to get into, I would still try because all they can say is no. I did see that the process is kind of long, so prepare for that. I would also recommend for the bigger colleges that are in your city, to look and see what type of full rides, if they do give full rides, what type of full rides they give and what is the criteria, especially if you're in high school and you need a certain GPA. I would recommend definitely looking at that to make sure that you can achieve and get that full ride scholarship, because usually the scholarships that are given by the schools, you either get it or you don't. You don't necessarily apply. It's usually when you put in your information and they do all that, and then they tell you what type of thing they'll give you. So for example, if you go to like ASU or AFU and you are low income or an independent student And yeah, you have to have at least a 3.0 GPA to qualify for a full ride scholarship, but they'll pay for your room, board, and tuition, which is a full ride. And also, you'll get some on top of that, which will be stuff to pay for your books and your classes and a bunch of other stuff. I would also recommend looking at, usually churches give pretty good scholarships. I personally have some friends that I know that get their scholarships from churches, and one of the girls that I know, she's on like a full ride. So especially some of like the bigger churches, they give big, even if you're not religious, just check it out. Also, a lot of organizations usually have some type of grant scholarship opportunity that you can apply for. And some of the sororities and fraternities also have scholarship opportunities, whether that you're in it or not. I definitely have a friend that has some type of sorority scholarship, and she is not in a sorority. And they give her a lot. And all she did was apply. I don't personally use like the really big scholarship websites. I seen other people do it, and when I did it, I personally didn't get any callback, anything like that. So I think that you guys should definitely look at organizations, churches, things within the community, and searching up scholarships that match you when it comes to financial situation, because usually scholarships that are financial based are easier to get, especially when you're like low income and independent. So that's what I would personally go for when you're trying to pay for art school. These are all the tips I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment down below, and let me know what video you'd like to see next. Bye.